Good afternoon, everyone. So today we're gonna discuss the lobes of the brain. For this project, we used tissues, used paper, plastics, and straws and cottons. So we're going to start with the discussion of parietal lobe and its function.
So, hi everyone. Today I'm going to share about a bit about the parietal lobe. So, the parietal lobe is located at the back part of the brain, just behind the frontal lobe. It may not get as much attention as the others, but it's very important in our daily life. Its main job is to process sensory information like touch, pressure, temperature, and pain. So whenever you feel something like hot, cold, or soft, it's the parietal lobe doing the work. It also helps us with spatial awareness and coordination. Thanks to the parietal lobe, we can tell where our body is in space, which helps us walk, grab things, or even play sports without bumping into stops. So, in short, the parietal lobe helps us feel, move, understand, and think logically. All things we use every single day.
So next is the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is one of the four major lobes of the cerebral cortex. Um, this is located at the front part of the brain. Here you can see it. It's color blue in our project. And the frontal lobe is one of the is the largest of the lobes in the crucial of many high level of cognitive and behavioral functions. So the functions will be discussed by Ms. Kalatan.
So, the frontal lobe of the brain plays a vital role in controlling many of the higher cognitive functions that make us uniquely human. One of its primary responsibilities is executive functioning, which includes planning, problem solving, decision making, and organizing tasks. These abilities allows us to set goals, think critically, and manage time effectively. When we solve a problem or make a choice, it's the frontal lobe that enables us to weigh options or consider a consequences and act logically. Another major function of the frontal lobe is motor control. The primary motor cortex, located at the back of the frontal lobe, sends signals to different parts of the body to produce voluntary movements. This means everything from waving your hand to walking is coordinated by this brain region. And also to add, the frontal lobe also contains Broca's area, which is important for speech production. These parts helps form sentences and speak clearly. Damage to this area may result in difficulty speaking or forming words, even if the person can still understand language. And the frontal lobe is also essential for controlling emotions, behavior, and attention. It helps regulate impulses and support socially appropriate behavior. Let's say, for example, it prevents someone from interrupting in class or sorry, reacting aggressively in a calm situation. It also allows people to focus on tasks and ignore distractions. If the frontal lobe is impaired, a person may become easily distracted, act impulsively, or behave inappropriately in social settings. And also, lastly, the frontal lobe influences our personality and memory. It plays a role in how we express emotions, relate to others, and respond to situations. It also helps with working memory. which involves temporarily holding and processing information, like remembering directions long enough to follow them. Because all of these roles, damage to the frontal lobe can result in dramatic personality changes, poor and also poor judgment, loss of motivation, and difficulty remembering or organizing thoughts. Overall, the frontal lobe is crucial for thinking, behaving, and interacting in a balanced and thoughtful way. That's all for the frontal lobe, guys. Thanks.
So the next one is the occipital lobe, the green one on our work. So occipital lobe is the brain primary visual processing center. It is located at the posterior part of the cerebral cortex, right at the back of the head. Its main role is to receive and interpret visual information coming from the eyes via the optic nerves and the thalamus. The primary visual cortex, also called V1, is located here. It processes basic visual features like light, shape, color, and motion. From there, the brain sends this information to visual association areas, which help us recognize object, faces, and spatial orientation. The occipital lobe is essential for our understand or react to the visual world. Damage to this lobe can lead to visual field loss, visual hallucinations, or disorders like visual agnosia, where a person can see but not recognize what they are looking at. The occipital lobe is crucial for making sense of what we see, turning raw visual signals into meaningful images. And that's occipital lobe, the green one on our work. Thank you. Next one.
Next is the temporal lobe. So the temporal lobe is located beneath the temples. This plays a crucial role in processing auditory information. So temporal lobe enables us to understand sounds and language. It is also heavily involved in memory formation, particularly the creation of long-term memories. So this structure contains the hippocampus, and the temporal lobe also contributes to the recognition of objects and faces. It integrates sensory input with stored knowledge. Within this lobe lies the amygdala. Uh, Amygdala is essential for processing emotions. So temporal lobe is vital for our ability to hear, remember, recognize, and experience the world around us.
Up next is the cerebellum, and the cerebellum is located at the back of the skull, underneath the occipital lobe, and behind the brainstem. It's comprised of its own parts such as the left and right cerebellum, the vermis, and the cerebellar cortex. The left and right hemispheres of the cerebellum have a similar structure and function when it comes to controlling the human body. They ultimately have control on the side of the body that they take up, and this is also known as ipsilateral control. Hence, the left hemisphere of the cerebellum controls the left side of the body, while the right side of the cerebellum controls the right side of the body. In the similar way that these hemispheres have control over which side of the body does what they want it to do, they also receive external information from the left or right side of the body, which the left or right cerebellum hemisphere processes. If there are any issues or impairments in the cerebellum, it results in negatively affecting body movement control. The cerebellum is divided into different zones according to their function. First is the lateral zone, which is involved in planning, initiating, and timing of complex voluntary movements, especially in fine motor control. Second is the intermediate zones, which are involved in the coordination of limb movements and correction of motor errors during movement. Lastly, the medial zone, which is also called the vermis. It coordinates the body's torso and upper limbs movements and maintains the overall posture of the body. That's
The next part is the brainstem. It is located at the base of the brain, connecting the cerebrum and cerebellum to the spinal cord. It is essentially the link between the brain and the spinal cord. The brainstem is also positioned near the bottom of the brain at the back of the skull. It controls basic life functions like breathing, heartbeat, and blood pressure. It also helps with swallowing, sleep, and reflexes such as coughing. And it also regulates involuntary actions such as balance, blood pressure, and eye movements. And it is a critical part for sending and receiving messages between the brain and the body.
That is all. Thank you.